Alright, so I need to get this off my chest. You know how sometimes you get that gut feeling that something's off? Like, really off? That's where this all started. I'm not usually the kind of guy to believe in ghost stories or any of that stuff. I grew up in Colombo, lived here my whole life. And yeah, we've got our fair share of creepy stories. Every Sri Lankan kid has heard at least one story about a haunted well or a cursed tree. But I never thought I'd be part of it. Last year, I moved into this old apartment in Colombo 7. It was this colonial style building that had been converted into flats just off Ward Place. The kind of place that looks like it's got stories baked into the walls. You know, high ceilings, creaky wooden floors, those old school louvered windows. I loved it. Now, here's the weird part. This apartment was dirt cheap. In that area, you'd expect to pay at least double. When I asked the landlord about it, he just gave this awkward laugh and said, "Ah, you're lucky no one else wanted it." Yeah, lucky. For the first few weeks, things were fine. Bit noisy from traffic, but otherwise chill. Until I started doing a deep clean one Sunday. I moved my bed to sweep under it and noticed something weird on the wall. This tiny rectangular outline. Same paint as the wall, but you could just barely see the edges. I got curious, knocked on it. It sounded hollow. I tapped around a bit more and yeah, this thing wasn't just decorative. It was a hidden panel. Now, I'm not proud of this, but I got a bit too excited. Grabbed a kitchen knife and started prying it open. Took a while, but eventually, I pulled the panel off. Behind it, a small crawl space, just pitch black inside. Smelled like old mud and stagnant water, like the inside of a well that hadn't been used in years. Of course, instead of just leaving it alone, I grabbed a torch and climbed in. The space was tighter than I expected. I had to crouch, then eventually crawl. It sloped downward a bit, and the air got colder the further I went. Weird, considering how hot and humid Colombo usually is. Then I started hearing things. Faint whisper, like someone speaking Sinhala in a really low voice, but I couldn't make out the words. And then, man, I still get chills thinking about this. I saw movement. Just a flicker of something moving fast in the shadows ahead of me. That's when I backed out so fast I scraped my elbows wrong, slammed the panel shut, and pushed the bed right back where it was. That night, I heard scratching, like fingernails dragging along wood. It came from inside the wall. Then just around 2 or 3 in the morning, I heard whispering again. This time, it wasn't Sinhala. It was my name. I packed a bag and left the apartment before sunrise. I called the landlord from a hotel and told him I wanted out of the lease. When I told him what I found, there was a long silence on the line. Then he said, "You opened the door, didn't you?" Turns out, the building used to be part of an old colonial estate, and that flat, my flat, was once the servants' quarters. And apparently, one of the servants had vanished mysteriously back in the 1930s. People said she used to sneak off at night and talk to something in the walls. No one ever found her. I don't know what's inside that crawl space, but I know I wasn't alone down there. And now sometimes, late at night, I still hear that voice calling my name, in my dreams. Always from a dark hallway, always whispering. Whatever I woke up in that apartment, I don't think it stayed there.